Hey everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres. Henry and I are in the greenhouse this morning because we've been getting a whole bunch of questions about male versus female flowers in cucurbits and other stuff, and people have asked us to show how we hand pollinate if we need to. So far, we have not had good pollination on this cantaloupe in the greenhouse. It doesn't surprise me. We haven't had a lot of pollinators in here lately. Sometimes we do. Just this past week, there hasn't been any to speak of. But this morning, I came out and I located, there's a female flower here, and there's another one down there. So I'm going to be harvesting pollen and hopefully getting these females pregnant so that we can have cantaloupe. So all I have here is an inexpensive art brush. I was looking for a brush this morning and I thought, oh, cheapie from Taiwan. Perfect. It's a small brush. It's not some giant big fluffy thing, because I need to be able to get down the throat of the plant, and cantaloupe flowers are relatively small. So all I'm going to do is find a couple of males and fluff around in there. So that's a male. That's an old flower. Okay, I'm just going to gently touch the interior parts of the flower. Now, sometimes you can actually see the pollen coming off clearly. Other times it's pretty microscopic. But I'm going to hit several flowers here on the theory that somebody's got viable pollen. Can't really see it on this particular plant, but I'm going to have faith because, well, it's what you got to do sometimes. I'm going to grab several male flowers worth of pollen because I really don't know if they're viable. And I'm simply going to brush it into the center of this flower. I wish I could say that it's always super definitive, like you can really see the pollen. I would be fibbing because I really can't see it today. And that's kind of annoying, because it would be nicer if I could say, oh, I could definitely see that yellow stuff on there or something. But there's another one down here. Okay, I'm not going to trust the ability of the pollinators that I might have in here to do their job. So I'm going to tickle the inside of the male flower with a brush and do the same thing on the female, and hope that somewhere along the line I'm transferring some pollen. And that's all there is to it. Again, I'm finding a male. There's another male. There's a female. And there's another female in here somewhere. There it is. He's hiding behind a leaf. And there he is, right there. And that's what I'm continuing to do, is I'm trying to make sure I find some fresh males. And run back to those girls and hope that I've done my job. We won't know for probably about a week as to whether it's worked or not. But like I say, we've had poor germination out here. We've had too many of these guys that have failed. And that's a failed female. It didn't get pollinated, so it's not going to do anything. But all of a sudden, our plants are starting to produce a stack of females. It may be a reduction in light level that's causing the plants to produce more female flowers because the days are getting shorter. It may also be the nights are getting cooler, where now we were down to 52 degrees last night outside. It got down to about 56 in here. Whatever it is, we know that they suddenly are producing more female flowers, and we want to take advantage of that. I'm seeing a whole stack of tiny little guys like this that are going to be females when they're bigger. They are females. They're just going to be a flower that could produce a fruit. So I'm going to be watching that and seeing how we do. And you know, I could see a couple of little tiny pieces of pollen on there. If I just get the light right, I can see just a tiny sheen of yellow on there. But yep, that's my goal, is to make these girls give us cantaloupes. And then it'll be fun because we'll be growing cantaloupes on a trellis sort of a situation. I did that last year in the garden and it worked really well. So I think it's worth a try. In terms of pollinating the tomatoes, we talked about that a little bit, and CB had mentioned the fact that you have to be careful if you let your fans blow. And he's right, you do have to be careful about your fans drying out your tomatoes. But what we do is, if I turn on the fan real hard, I'll turn it on for a minute and then I'll turn it back off. And what that does is it makes the plant shake. Down here, for instance, there's some flowers up here that are pretty well open. That means they're ready to be pollinated. All I have to do is go like this, and that's enough to pollinate these flowers up there. And especially down here, excuse me, Jack, especially down here, these plants tend not to wobble as much from the fans, so I'll tend to come along, and if I see new flowers in the top, I'll just give them a good jiggle. And that's enough to pollinate. The beans over here, I don't normally have to do that. They will pollinate themselves. It's a slightly tighter flower. They just do their own thing. And that's it. That's all you have to do. If we were in a situation where we were trying to do our own hybrids, what we would do is we would transfer the pollen from the male source that we wanted to use to the female source that we wanted to use, and then we would cover the flower for the female so that no other source of pollen could come in. In very tightly controlled environments where they're working on hybridization, they will control the female completely by keeping her covered and removing all other sources of pollen, and then opening up the container that she's in just long enough to use a brush to pollinate her with. Sometimes they will actually use a pair of tweezers and take the male part out of one plant and literally dust it on her directly. But that's all there is to it. It's not hard. Silly little craft brush is all it takes, and you're done.
I got from behind the counter. I got out from behind. I got out from behind the camera.
He never got out from behind the brick today. Let's see. There we go. Make sure that you can actually see us, because I'm not believing you today. Hey, you know, there's days. We all have good days and bad days. So you got out from behind the camera. People are actually know you're actually here now.
I'm actually out here in the greenhouse with Irene, shooting this show. Took two of us.
Right, well, I could do it, but it's kind of a pain to have to set the camera up, adjust the focus, do the painting with the, you know, it's much easier if you have a person. And I came running into the house and said, we have girl flowers this morning. So, yeah, we're here.
Thanks for watching.
Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you know we're going to be doing plenty more.
Lots more stuff for sure. Here in the greenhouse, out in the garden.
Yep. So until next time, bye.
Bye. And don't forget to brainstorm.
Yep, keep on brainstorming.